When Princess Catherine made her grand entrance into the opulent Grand Ballroom at Buckingham Palace, all eyes in the room momentarily shifted. This wasn't a shift caused by her elegant stride or the effortless grace that had long become synonymous with her presence. No, this was something far more compelling. The cause of the stir was far more subtle yet profoundly significant. It was the glimmering tiara she wore atop her head, a magnificent piece of royal jewelry that had once belonged to none other than Queen Elizabeth II. This wasn't just any tiara. This was the tiara of the girls of Great Britain and Ireland, a crown that was far more than just a precious accessory. It was a symbol of power, legacy, and authority. In that moment, as Princess Catherine stepped into the spotlight, there was a collective pause in the ballroom. It was as if time had momentarily frozen, a silence that had nothing to do with the princess herself, but everything to do with the glittering heirloom she wore. The room, filled with the glitter of diamonds, the hum of conversation, and the soft rustle of silk gowns, suddenly felt heavy with history. The air seemed to thicken with unspoken questions. Why had Catherine chosen this moment to wear the tiara so closely linked with the monarchy's most revered matriarch? What was the significance of this gesture? And what did it mean for the future of the royal family? Across the room, Queen Camilla, the new consort of the British throne, stood watching. Her eyes narrowed just for a moment, a flicker of emotion passing across her face, too fleeting for most to catch, but there was something undeniably intense about her gaze. Was it the recognition of a momentous shift in the royal hierarchy, or something more? A flicker of doubt? An acknowledgement that the old guard was beginning to pass into new hands? It was an expression many would later recall, but what did it truly mean? Was this a challenge to her own position as the queen consort, or had Catherine been playing a much more delicate game, one of loyalty, tradition, and subtle authority? The truth, as we know it now, lies in the tiara that Catherine wore that night. Its story is much more than a piece of royal fashion. It is a tale that stretches back over a century, to an era when the monarchy was at a turning point. This tiara, designed by the iconic Cartier in 1893, was initially created for Princess Mary of Teck, who would later become Queen Mary, the grandmother of the current monarch, Queen Elizabeth II. The tiara was crafted by some of Britain's most renowned jewelers, commissioned by a group of aristocrats led by Lady Eva Greville. Their aim? To create a wedding gift that would befit a future queen. The tiara of the girls of Great Britain and Ireland was more than just a wedding present. It was a statement of solidarity and reverence, a symbol of royal lineage. Set with diamonds that seemed to shimmer in 1,000 directions, the tiara's design was exquisite, a delicate blend of floral motifs and scrolling patterns, all set in platinum and gold. It was a masterpiece, timeless and regal, designed to withstand the wear and tear of the centuries ahead. But it wasn't just its beauty that made this tiara so significant, it was its power. To wear this tiara was to carry the weight of the crown itself, a symbol of continuity, resilience, and responsibility. For Queen Mary, this tiara was her crown. It was seen at nearly every important event she attended, becoming a signature piece in her vast collection. The tiara, like her, stood tall and unyielding, enduring the turbulent times of her reign. Through the world wars, through the rise and fall of empires, the tiara remained. It became not only a piece of jewelry but an anchor, a symbol of stability in an ever-changing world. But, as the centuries turned, the tiara's legacy would be further sealed by a series of royal women, each of whom made it their own in different ways. When Princess Diana, the world's darling, the people's princess, came into the royal fold, the tiara underwent a significant transformation. Cartier, once again, worked their magic, using the pearls from this iconic tiara to create the Lover's Knot tiara, a piece that would later become synonymous with Diana herself. A piece that would carry with it its own story of love, heartbreak, and ultimately, tragedy. The pearls from the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara were reimagined, transformed into something new, just as Diana's own role in the royal family was redefined. But it didn't stop there. The tiara's legacy continued through the generations. As Queen Elizabeth II ascended to the throne, it was clear that the tiara would remain a key part of the royal collection. The Queen affectionately called it Grandma's tiara, referring to her grandmother, Queen Mary, who had worn it before her. Elizabeth was not just its custodian but its rightful heir. The tiara, with its lightness and comfort, was far more practical than the larger, heavier crowns in the Queen's collection, which made it ideal for public appearances. It allowed her to move with grace, to stand tall at important events without the discomfort of cumbersome adornments. It became a symbol of her own resilience, a reflection of her strength as the monarch who would navigate the ever-changing tides of history. But the story doesn't end there. In 2022, the passing of Queen Elizabeth II created a ripple effect through the royal family. The tiara, now without a direct custodian, became the subject of endless speculation. Who would wear it now? Would it be passed to Queen Kamila, the new consort, as a sign of her position? Or would another royal figure rise to claim it? It was Princess Catherine who, on that fateful evening in the grand ballroom, made the bold decision to wear it. The room fell into a tense silence as she entered, her figure framed by the glittering diamonds that adorned her head. But it wasn't just the tiara that held everyone's attention, it was what she represented. Catherine was no longer simply the Duchess of Cambridge, the wife of Prince William. She was now the Princess of Wales, the next in line to the throne, and the woman who would one day wear the crown herself. The act of wearing this tiara, a piece of royal history, of which she was now an integral part, was a symbolic gesture, an assertion of her place within the monarchy. The murmurs began. Whispers of discontent, perhaps? Or murmurs of admiration? What did this mean for Queen Kamila, whose own crown was still fresh upon her head? Had Catherine's choice to wear the tiara of the girls of Great Britain and Ireland signalled a shift in the delicate balance of the royal hierarchy? Was this a sign of the future, or an unintended slight to the Queen consort? For those who knew the power of the tiara, the implications were far from simple. For Queen Kamila, this moment carried with it more than just a fleeting moment of surprise. It was a reminder that, though her reign had begun with much fanfare, the crown itself, both literally and metaphorically, was constantly shifting, evolving, and at times, slipping through the fingers of those who might have thought they had a firm grasp on it. As Catherine wore the tiara with quiet grace, the world watched, as did Kamila, whose thoughts, hidden behind a stoic expression, betrayed nothing. What was she thinking as she observed this new chapter unfold before her? The implications of Princess Catherine's choice were as layered as the tiara itself. The tiara that once represented the indomitable spirit of Queen Mary now seemed to be representing something else entirely, the future. The future of the monarchy, the future of Britain, and the future of a woman who was ready to claim her place among the queens of history. In the weeks that followed, speculation mounted. Would the tiara become a regular part of Catherine's wardrobe, a constant reminder of the history she now wore? Or would it remain a fleeting moment, reserved only for special occasions? Would the tiara remain firmly in her possession, or would it eventually pass to Queen Kamila, as many had once predicted? One thing was clear, the monarchy was entering a new era, one where the lines between tradition and modernity, between old power and new influence, were becoming increasingly blurred. And as long as this tiara, this jewel of history, remained in the royal collection, it would continue to carry with it the weight of the past, the responsibility of the present, and the uncertainty of the future. To stay updated on all the latest twists and turns of the royal family, from regal traditions to bold new moves, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. The royal story is ever evolving, and you won't want to miss a single chapter.